Hi. So I just wanted to make a quick video about what I think is one of the best free non-AI noise reduction tools out there. Welcome to Deep Sky Detail. The tool is called Iain's Noise Reduction 2019 and it's available for Gimp, as well as Photoshop and Affinity Photo. Let me show you what it's capable of. Then we'll look at how to download it, and then I'll give you a quick tutorial about how to use it. Here's an image of the Horsehead Nebula I took a few months ago. I have around 18 hours of hydrogen alpha and only 30 minutes of RGB. For the hydrogen alpha, I took different types of subs. So I took 2.5-minute subs, 5-minute subs, and 10-minute subs. And I'll tell you why at the end of the video. But I wish I had more RGB data because I only have 30 minutes of it. But it is what it is. So here is my image open in Gimp. It's not the best image. There are definitely things wrong with it. Anyway, I've been iteratively processing it in different layers, and in my opinion, I've overprocessed the image a bit in order to see all the interesting nebulosity below the Horsehead. I'm okay with that trade-off for now. Here's the initial stretch. The HA data are pretty clean. There is some noise, but after adding a high-pass filter and doing some wavelet sharpening and adding the RGB data back in, I got to this point. Now, let's zoom in. So all of the sharpening has brought out some graininess to the image, plus I've overstretched it, which doesn't help. And that's really what I want to remove. In the brighter areas, the noise isn't as noticeable. It's really in the fainter nebulosity and darker areas that the noise pops out. And that's where a Gimp's filter called Iain's Noise Reduction really shines. Here is the denoising layer that had it applied. If we toggle on and off the brighter areas, hopefully through YouTube's compression, you can see that the brighter areas are left relatively untouched, while the darker areas have a good amount of noise reduction applied and is really well done. So how can you get this tool? Well, you need Gimp or Affinity Photo or Photoshop. I'm on Gimp 3.0.2 as of this recording. You also need Gimmick. Both install using exe files in Windows, so once you've installed Gimp or Photoshop or whatever, you can simply install the Gimmick plugin using the exe plugin. I've never tried it, though, with Photoshop and Affinity Photo, so your mileage may vary if you use those programs. Once you've installed and restarted Gimp, if you already had it open, you can go to Filters and find the Gimmick plugin. In the search bar of the window that pops up, you can go ahead and type Iain's Noise Reduction, and it should pop up. Quick side note, noise reduction should be one of the last things that you do when you process an image. For the layer I'm editing, I've created a new from visible layer. This layer has all of the edits I plan to do except for noise reduction and adding back in the stars. This is the layer I'll be editing. Okay, so go back to the noise reduction tool. On the left, here's the preview. I would recommend changing the preview from full to something like forward horizontal or forward vertical. That way you can click and drag the dotted line around the image to see the before and after images easily. Now, there are admittedly a lot of sliders, and it looks complicated, but you only really need to know a few of them. The first, gamma slider, to me seems like a global slider that determines in general how much you want the denoising to target the darker areas. And I hope I'm understanding this correctly, by the way, but I've used the tool quite a bit, and it seems like what Iain himself in his video says it's doing. So for astrophotos, I move it all the way to the right. Otherwise, too much of the high frequency data can be removed from the brighter areas, and it makes the image look a bit like a watercolor painting. These next three sliders, the shadows, light, and mid offset, control where you want to target the noise reduction specifically. Let's call these the targeting sliders. What's really cool is that you can change the preview show selection to noise, and in the preview window, it will show you exactly what it thinks is the noise. All that speckly stuff is the noise. With defaults enabled, let's take a look at what it thinks the noise is. We can see some of the dust clouds as well as the magnetic lines of the nebula coming through. That, of course, is detail that we don't want to blur out. The small speckles are the fine noise, the large speckles are the large noise, and the medium speckles are the mid noise. So let's adjust the targeting sliders to make things look more random. I'll move gamma up to target the shadows more than the lights, but you can still see some patterns that actually kind of look like the Horsehead Nebula. And you also see these vertical lines. Those patterns that look like lines around the Horsehead are sort of magnetic field lines. We want the noise to look as random as possible, so let's decrease the light and mid offset sliders a bit and increase the shadow slider. Already, the horse's head and magnetic lines are a little bit less pronounced. That's good, but it's not perfect. There's another secret that helps with this specifically. If there is some detail that the tool removes, it can try to recover it. This is especially helpful when you want to be aggressive with the noise reduction, or like we have here, we're afraid the tool will remove detail. Generally, fast recovery is good enough, especially if you have dialed in the sliders really well. The next set of sliders I'm going to call the aggressiveness sliders. These are the fine, mid, and large sliders, and they control how much the noise reduction happens for the different types of noise. Generally, we want to get rid of a lot of the fine and the mid noise. So let's go back to previewing the output now. We can be as aggressive as we want, but being too aggressive can make your image look like a watercolor painting. So you can toggle the preview on or off, or use the slide preview to go back and forth to fine-tune things. When you're happy, click OK to apply the changes, and it will take a couple minutes depending on your machine, but overall, I think it does a really good job. If you're hesitant about using too much AI, or you just want a free tool that gives you a lot of control, I think Iain's Noise Reduction 2019 is one of the best options out there. If you stayed this long, first, thank you. And second, here's sort of the secret that I alluded to at the beginning of the video. The HA data were taken with a combination of 2.5, 5, and 10-minute exposures, and then I stacked them all together. Why would I take the different length sub-exposures? Well, it's to experimentally test whether you need longer exposures with narrowband data than broadband data. I've done similar experiments in these videos with broadband data, so you should take a look at those if you haven't. And thanks for watching.